Jensen Huang's remarks at Goldman, the Oracle, and an explosive exclusive interview conducted outside the White House brought this back to AI. Naturally, everything we experienced was related to Larry Ellison's remarks from the Oracle conference call and the information revealed by the Oracle figures. Microsoft concentrated so much on AI and all the prospects there that it even gave presentations at Goldman Sachs and Community Copia. Are you then a stronger believer? You have been doubtful. Well, no, I'm tired of having bad luck and consistently losing money. The solution is stake. We're talking about insane odds that have the power to alter your life. You could actually multiply your money by 1,000. Why do you wait? God, look at it now. It's right here. No, what took place? Indeed, 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 indeed. Drake, one of the most well-known musicians in the world, is even playing it. What is Plinko's maximum bet? Yes, click the link below, and let's start the celebration. I've never doubted AI's ability to completely change the world. What worries me, and still worries me, is what it will imply for society as a whole. I don't doubt what will happen in the end, because there are still opposing viewpoints. One is more closely aligned with the Sequoia camp, which we all became acquainted with earlier this summer with the initial report from Sequoia, raising concerns about the return on invested capital, whether or not it will all finally make its way into apps, and how this would all work out from a value proposition. But will this really change things or not? No, I don't doubt that at all. Jim, you know that I haven't been good, so you're not good either. Indeed, it's amusing to talk to Jensen Huang. He claims that since alcohol has been around for around 18 months, it should be able to treat cancer. I mean, does it really treat cancer? I question myself. You'd take a moment to clarify that's not the intention. It's about instantaneously obtaining data that would require years to compile. That's nice. SBL's doubts were based on recent instances when medical professionals were still able to identify breast cancer cases more accurately than I at the moment. Without a doubt, but this is the scenario as of right now. Just to be clear, he told me that he doesn't have any concerns about Nvidia's performance. Rather, he wants to know how much money will be spent. Oracle Ellison now states that you will need to invest an infinite amount of money in order to stay up with neural networks. The spending never stops. It is analogous to the build. One of the main concerns is the notion that, if accepted by Sequoia, there would come a time when GPU purchases will be mostly unnecessary. You will enter the next step after all the data, generative models, and huge language models have been input. These models won't be finished, but they will be substantially finished. However, the value that is produced by those using the models won't always come from them. However, I do believe that one of the things, as you can see from what Tesla is discussing, is robots and the development of truly autonomous vehicles. Discuss self-driving cars, such as those found in various applications. It's similar, in a way, to when you took chemistry, which I was able to avoid since I knew it would damage my transcript. I realized that this is about attempting to do applied rather than basic work. Jensen is taking care of the fundamentals, and Elon is handling the heavy lifting. However, chips too, which gets us to Jensen Huang's speech at the White House yesterday regarding AI and the rollout across the country. To what extent will there be a public-private collaboration with the government? Made in Sella was able to reach them. Listen in case you missed it. We must ensure that everyone is aware of the upcoming needs, opportunities, and challenges, and that we are addressing them in the most effective and scalable way possible. Indeed, do you think that the federal government should be involved in this situation, making both private and public investments? Given the extremely rapid rate of growth in this field, public-private cooperation is most likely going to be necessary. Artificial intelligence uses a lot of energy during training, but it uses very little energy while use. In the end, using the model is more important than training it. Covered a wide area. Yes, that's right, it's quite intriguing. Training and application are just crucial. Though they are less trained and more inferential, I believe in the universe of Lisa and AMD. What counts is that when you purchase an Nvidia chip, you essentially have access to this enormous library of embedded devices. It's not a chip though, because a Blackwell has 7 chips on it. We have to understand that this is a supercomputer weighing 80 pounds. People just say, oh, it's put them all together, and you get. And that's what you get, so we need to stop calling it a chip. Naturally, let's go back to Ellison's remarks and his own. We discussed the need for and usage of power on a daily basis, given how many data centers Oracle is creating. Ellison did, in fact, mention having a team of utility executives at Oracle who were attempting to work things out. He also mentioned the power use. We are forced to recommission nuclear power, we cannot continue. No, Nvidia made a significant resurgence. We witnessed a significant amount of sustained power coming from companies like Apple, which is currently, in my opinion, decisively leading the market capitalization race. Then, although today is an exception, we have seen tiny caps suffer more than some may have hoped, which has greater sway over this market. They both represent various investor perspectives and are significant. I believe that you will always want to own the top businesses in the most significant categories, Nvidia and Apple, for example. They will also put in a lot of effort during any cycle. However, the market's perception that the Fed would raise rates back to neutral, which includes the interest rates on mortgages, vehicle loans, and the cost of borrowing money, creates enormous advantages for cyclical equities in general and small caps in particular. That's why, in my opinion, I would still want to place a very well-informed wager with a high likelihood that small caps will perform admirably throughout the course of the upcoming year, as well as in the interim. We haven't discussed your granny shots in a long. Tell us again your thesis for some of these stocks that you find appealing. Indeed, the foundation of granny shots is the notion that an economy has several secular forces. We examined AI, cybersecurity, energy security, and the millennial generation in our initial granny shot model. The granny shots really started out as a result of our desire to own the greatest stocks in those topics. Brands such as Apple and Nvidia. Nvidia has been on that list since 2019. Therefore, I believe it's crucial for investors to consistently identify the finest firms and hold them throughout the cycle rather than simply trading the best names. Alright, useful reminder. Thank you for coming, Tom Lee. I'm grateful. After releasing its results in mid-August, Nvidia experienced some difficulties, but this week the company's stock is up almost 15%. Joseph Moore, senior semiconductor analyst at Morgan Stanley, is joining us right now to talk more about the company in the industry. Joseph, may I just ask you what occurred this week? What is driving the stock's momentum in either direction? Yes, I believe that the events of the previous 2 weeks were the bigger surprise for me. As you can see, they beat by $2 billion in the quarter, which has never happened before Nvidia began doing this a year and a half ago. I am aware that they are struggling with these challenges related to expectations, and that some inquiries regarding gross margin have surfaced. However, I was shocked by the sell-off. This is our top choice, and there is a huge demand for it. It's crucial to pay attention to product cycles and similar aspects, as you well know. We want to see the corporation follow through on that, but Jensen told us last week at a conference that the strength of the business is actually what matters most. We've heard how dedicated these customer-side executives are to these tasks from a lot of high-ranking executives. Thus, in my opinion, this is still a really interesting tale. Once more, I was a little confused as to why it was up this week and why it was so much down the previous week. However, the stock has extremely high future development possibilities and is valued quite reasonably. Will Blackwell's profit margins be smaller than Hopper's? Maybe a little amount, I believe. I believe they had briefly mentioned certain price points on CNC when the device was first introduced in March. It's a touch out of the ordinary. They seem to be really concerned on whether we can still be of use. Is the market able to expand further? Additionally, I believe they are probably more concerned with it than the finer points of gross margin. In the upcoming quarters, there will be some pressure here, but this is really the beginning of cranking it up. At first, the yields will be low. I believe they've kind of